Good afternoon. Well, it's been a few days since I made a video, and a couple changes have been made here since the last video. First of all, I'm putting aside this 232 VTVM until I can get some parts for it. It was put together as a kit, which most of these ICOs were, and the quality of the workmanship or whoever put it together was not very good. And the electrolytic that's in there is probably going to have to be replaced, and it's buried way down inside. So when you put these kits together, you put the parts in the back first and then you work your way up. And probably when I was younger there'd be no problem working on it. It's very, very cramped in there. And the dial is faded, especially the red scales for the AC, and very, very faded and hard to read. So I'm going to put that off. I've got digital meters, and they're 10 megohm input, so they should be okay for now. What I started doing is I got this from Radio Man Bill when he brought the carload of stuff over. It's a Signal Tracer 147A ICO, and it works. And I'm not sure if anybody's restored this or not. This is unplugged and turned off, by the way. This switch is broken here, and that's the way I found it. It's the RF audio and noise switch. I'm not sure what the noise feature is on these things. I know I had a Signal Tracer many years ago in my old shop. It wasn't an ICO, but I never used that feature. What I did use is the audio portion of this, like an amplifier. It works. It might have something to do with this broken switch here, but it's a wafer switch, a 3-position. So it looks to me like somebody's recapped it. As that's not an original cap. The ceramic discs you don't have to worry about. They're almost always good. And this here looks like a more modern capacitor. The electrolytic seems to be good, no hum, does not run warm, so I would be inclined to believe that that's okay too. And whoever put this together did a real good job on it. But I'm not sure if it's wired right. I got the schematic. This is supposed to be the audio input right here. Right here, this is the audio input, this is ground. This is supposed to be RF input. But this center pin of this goes right to the gain control. And when I touch my finger on it, I get a hum in the speaker. So that's an audio input. So maybe the wires got reversed, I don't know. But I will show you. I can't do much. It does work even without this switch working here. It just broke right off. And that's the way it was when I pulled it out of the cabinet. So I gotta see if I can jerry-rig some kind of switch up. I have no switches other than toggle switches, and that would look like hell. But let me plug this thing in. I had it in and give you a quick little review on how this is working. This is not something I'm in a hurry to fix, because I very rarely use a Signal Tracer. Very, very rarely. But let's plug it in. I switched this over to audio. Now I'll touch the back of this one. Not as loud. And the gain is all the way up. Alright, I'm going to probably attribute that because this has been loud before, and now it's lost volume. So this switch has got to be replaced, but I don't have anything to go in there. So I could probably... I would only use it for audio anyway, so I could probably just wire this in for audio only and just, you know, not worry about the rest of this. Because I'll only use this for audio amplifier anyways. It's supposed to have the watt meter, but when you turn it over to watts, iTube goes out and nothing. Alright, we'll shut it off. I suspect it's wired wrong, but I could be wrong on that because, like I say, this thing has to be connected up properly. Because the yellow wire that goes to the audio input goes right here. So, I can do some tracing out on that. Can't be that difficult. Because it goes right to the pot here. And probably get back to you on that. But that's going to be done later because I'm going to pull out the schematic on that. I can't do nothing with a busted switch, but I'm going to check out the schematic, and you really don't need the RF because I don't have a probe for this anyways. I would rather put a BNC in here. I'd have to get some to mount in here and just leave it in audio all the time. I can leave this knob on there and just, it doesn't matter, I can just hardwire this right in. I'm going to, off camera, I'm going to see if I can fix this switch with some epoxy on the phenolic wafer, but I doubt very highly I'll be able to fix it. I'd have to take everything out, and take off the wires and unhook it all and everything and do it on the bench. But I'm not worried about this piece of equipment. I'm not worried about that. That's going to be very tough to get in there. It's very cramped. Where here it's easy to get at. What I want to show you, last week I got in on eBay from a seller not too far from me, the Simpson 420 function generator. I remember telling you I want a function generator, primarily for audio. I think they'd be very suitable for audio. This goes up to 1 megacycle, and it's good. The only thing about it is it's 600 ohm output. It's impossible to find a manual on this. They do not exist. You can get the parts list and the schematic, but you cannot get the owner's manual. So it works good, but because it's 600 ohms, I'm running into my oscilloscope 10X probe here. This is a new probe that I got from eBay because my probes are no good. A sine wave, sawtooth. Turn this up a little bit. Well, the square wave is looking pretty good. Okay. Square wave is looking pretty good. I was using 2 oscilloscope probes on this because I got a package of 2 for $12.99 on eBay, and they are P6100 100 megahertz scope probes, and they're very good quality. But this gives you the frequency and the times. So this is right now on times 100. So 10 times 100, that's 1,000. And of course you've seen the frequency counter, and that's right on the money. So it works very well. I got the trigger off. It's pretty stable. Very hard to just touch the control. sawtooth and square wave. But like I say, it's 600 ohms output instead of 50. But I got it at a good price because I was looking on eBay, and by the time you get through with shipping, you end up paying close to $100. I paid $30 for this, and because the seller was living close to me, I didn't have to pay shipping. So, nice people. They even brought it to me. So, it works very well. And that's my audio generator. This goes down to about 1 cycle or 5 cycles. I think it's 1 cycle. And it goes up to 1 megacycle, which is perfect for audio. So I still need an RF generator, but in time. All right, we got it on auto. We got it on ×1, that's 1 cycle. That's 2 cycles. It's pretty close to the dial here. So if you turn this all the way up to 10, it would be 100 cycles. I mean 10 cycles, not 100. Okay, it's ×1 to 100,000. So 100,000 cycles on the left side of the decimal point here. Now let's see if 100,000 right there. 100,000, 59. Okay, so it's 100,000. Let's read it in on this scale. Let's go to 200,000. Very touchy. Just touch this dial here. Okay. So we'll go all the way up to its limit of 1 megacycle. We're right on the 10, but it reads a little over the 10 on this dial here in order to get 1 megacycle. Okay, she reads just a little over. Yeah. 1 division over. So I guess I can't complain about that too much. I got the book on this. I downloaded the book on this. I mean, on this rather, I'm sorry, on this. I cannot get the book on this. Cannot get the book on this at all. But I do have the book on the frequency counter. So anyways, I'm using a scope probe set for ×10. Okay, so I went for broke. Had to borrow some money, but I had a chance to get an ICO 950B capacitor comparator bridge, supposedly in excellent condition on eBay, for $54.95 free shipping. So I had to get it because I've been looking and looking and looking for weeks, and nothing out there is in my price range. I've lost several bids. I always get outbidded because my price range, my budget does not allow me to spend a lot of money. So I went for broke, and I have a ICO 950B coming. Cosmetically, it's in excellent condition, and the seller has like a 90-day return policy, but you have to pay shipping. It's clean inside and out, and hopefully it works as good as it looks. So that is a piece of equipment that I do need. The signal tracer, I don't need to use that right away. The VTVM, I don't need to use right away. But I do need a capacitor bridge. And of course, I still got to get parts and stuff to rebuild things. So the capacitor bridge is coming. It's an ICO. It's about the size of this. And it'll probably sit up here. I think I'll put another shelf here and put the signal tracer here, because a signal tracer is not going to be used all that much. The signal tracer will come in handy for, audio checking and so forth. And I don't have the probe for this anyways, so I'll probably put a BNC on it. I'll have to go and see if I can get some BNC chassis mount connectors. And the next thing I need, and it's going to be quite a while, to get a signal generator. eBay has one that I was looking at, but it's a synthesized one for $45. Buy it now. But it supposedly don't work, but it does show something on the display, but it only goes up to 11 megacycles. You can't touch the ICO 324 for less than $75-80 counting the shipping. What kills me is the shipping. And I lost a bid on that 3 or 4 nights ago. I should learn my lesson that I'm never going to win a bid, because I always go for the buy it now. And that's what this ICO 950B is a buy it now. So anytime I buy on eBay, I always use the buy it now feature. So I've been getting a sore neck looking for hours trying to find something in my price range. But the main thing is I have enough stuff to get started a little bit. And when I do get a soldering station, I'll be able to do something. And then I have to go and order some parts. eBay has a lot of parts, but I've been talking to some people, and their capacitors and stuff are junk. So I'm going to have to, unfortunately, scoff up the money to get parts. So this is going to take a while. So you guys are anxious to see me get going. It's going to take a long time. You got to remember, it took me many, many, many years to get started. I'm starting all over again. So I want to thank all of you who have sent me stuff. Some of you have mentioned that if you got a Variac, you don't need the dim bulb. I prepped this area in here. The dim bulb would go right here. But because I've got a Variac and of course an isolation transformer, a dim bulb isn't really necessary. And the more I think about that, I may not put a dim bulb in here. 3 or 4 guys have mentioned that you do not need a dim bulb. One of them even said it's overkill, and I had said, well, I'll probably do it anyways, but I probably won't, as long as I've got a Variac and an isolation transformer, which is very important. And to bring the power up slowly using the Variac, you don't really need the dim bulb. If you do not have a Variac, then by all means you do need a dim bulb. And all the dim bulb is going to be used anyways. It's going to be plugged into here. The bulb would be in series, of course, as you well know, with the load that's going to be plugged into the dim bulb's outlet. And when you're not using the dim bulb, you just throw the switch, it shorts out the bulb and allows full current to flow through into the radio or whatever device you're under test. So if I don't have to deal with that, then that's one less thing I have to do. But meanwhile, I gotta equip myself. I'm not equipped yet. to do very much. There was a time I'd just reach into a box of switches and I'd have a switch for that thing. Never a problem. I had all kinds of switches. So I gotta, each time I have to fix something, I have to go and buy the parts. And I can't accumulate a lot of things. Like I can't go and buy something like this, even if it was $5 or even somebody giving it to me for parts, simply because I'm running out of room. Believe it or not, I'm running out of room. I also, since I got this flopping video going here, over here I brought in my Dell D600 laptop from the house, which has Windows 2000 on it, which was put on by one of my viewers, operating system. And I've got manuals on this, the ICO, and a bunch of other things on PDF files, and I can set the computer out here and I can read the PDF files. The only problem with it is the schematics on this and in the ICO, the schematics and the parts list are sideways, so you got to turn the damn computer on the end to read it, because you got to look like this in order to read the schematics. But it's a lot easier for me to use the computer than to read a paper schematic. It's easy to find. It's not like the service manual on that Tektronix 2335 scope, which had 300 and some pages trying to find something on it. These schematics for these things and pictorials and stuff, they're very small booklets. They're not much to them. So I'm going to drag out the file on this when I get in the house. I can do it on my big computer, and find out what kind of switch that takes. Maybe I can improvise something. If not, I'll just short it out to leaving it into the audio position. And I'm flapping way too much. But you can see what I'm trying to tell you is there is no more room here to store stuff. Everything's, my toolbox is here, and if I need any other things, I got to drag it out. I have another toolbox here. My other scope is here that I got from Bill. And up here, I may put a shelf up here and put the signal tracer up here, and I may have another one on top of it. So I'll have shelves similar to the other side. Okay, in closing, if any of you guys out there can tell me where I may get a user's manual, not so much a service manual, but a user's manual for Simpson 420 function generator. The Simpson website and Bama and all them sites only have the schematic and the parts list. They do not have the manual on this. It's kind of nice to know what the minus 30 dB here is, the attenuation, 0 and 30. I know that reduces the signal output, but it's nice to be able to look at something in the book and tell you exactly what it does, and also as to why this is using 600 ohms output impedance instead of 50 ohms. So if I can get the manual on this, the user's manual, not just the schematic and the parts list, but the manual. If any of you people out there may even have this unit and have the book on it, I'd be more than happy to pay for a copy of it. So that's the story there on that. So that's where I stand right now. Okay. So that's the update, and when the ICO 950B arrives, I'll be making a video of that.